You must have 1,000 questions.
Where's Ray?
Ray! Ray! Ray, I never told you Ray! What? Ray! Ray!
We can't follow them!
I can't leave her!
We can't!
Ray!
Welcome everybody, I'm RJ of The Nerdy Brew, and here on this channel we talk TV, movies, and everything in between, all while drinking a cup of coffee. Now, if you like one of those things, or all of those things, why don't you consider like, subscribing, and hit that notification bell, and becoming a fellow Brewster. So today, fellow Brewsters, I want to share my thoughts. This is a coffee talk, and I also want to say thank you for stopping by, having this cup of coffee with me, and I hope all is well with you. But in this coffee talk, I want to talk about the state of Star Wars. And so currently, and I also want to talk about some ideas that I'm having. I didn't want it to just rest in my mind and in my heart, and I just want to let that out. But I was thinking, or recently there was some news that came out that the writer Stephen Knight, who was the creator of Peaky Blinders, was hired to write the script to the Ray movie that was announced in 2023, and it was going to be the first film in a new trilogy with Ray, who was from the sequel trilogy, as the star, right? And they had a lot of fanfare. D23, or I think it was D23 or a Star Wars event. Maybe it was May the 4th, but it was a Star Wars event, and they brought her out, and it was a lot of. And she was announced. They announced another movie talking about the early Jedi, Dawn of the Jedi, from James Mangold. And there's a lot of these things that they do with Disney where they have these announcements of certain films and certain projects that they're gonna do, and then they all fall to the wayside for whatever reason. You know, there was a Rian Johnson trilogy, not me. He's spelled with an I, and if I was to do a trilogy, it would have been out and it would have been a big success and everybody would have loved it. But with him, you know, he got commissioned a trilogy that was going to be, you know, after The Last Jedi, and he was the darling for Kathleen Kennedy, but that movie brought a lot of division for subverting expectations within the fan base. And the thing is, you know, they had the announcement of all these films. There was going to be a Rogue Squadron movie. There was announcement of a Boba Fett movie, a Obi-Wan movie, a Lando TV show. Two of those ended up becoming TV shows all in themselves. But both of those projects, between Obi-Wan and Boba Fett, they weren't universally loved. And I had my own problems and issues with the show, especially with Obi-Wan dealing with Leia. And with having him dealing with Leia, it just felt like it broke the lore to me. Relationship being established.
It's okay. You don't have to. Thank you.
This what we doing. She about to know all about this.
See you again?
Right?
Maybe. Someday. If you ever need help from a tired old man. But we must be careful.
What are we doing?
No one must know, or it could endanger us both.
Goodbye.
What? In episode 4, she had to keep it a secret so her message was formal. Next, it's from their adventure before in his show. So she had to act like she didn't know him to keep their secret safe. Garbage. Just for the interaction, and I know that Disney has this initiative of putting women first. And women and good, capable characters should be allowed to be in the forefront and should be allowed to have a space and to be in a medium, because they are half of the population. But the thing is, they are creating bad work. Their show that they wanted as a marquee show as The Acolyte, that show is now canceled. I had issues with the show. I had issues with Reva. To me, personally, I felt like Reva should have died at some point out of a tragedy, and it would have just brought more weight to the story. not trying to kill off Moses Ingram, just the fact that her character kept on surviving, and then her finding out about Luke, none of that made sense to me. And her performance was over the top, and I don't know if that was from direction, but she wasn't bad in it. It was just what they did with her, and then the unnecessary parkour. But it's cool to see Force users utilize the Force and their physicality, and I think that was a good thing in the fights of the Acolyte. The storytelling and character motivations within the Acolyte were very confusing, nonsensical, and it didn't push the story forward, in my observation. So, you know, a lot of people, or the ones that support it, there's a lot of criticism against people that say that it is because of the appearance of the show, no matter if it's, you know, pro LGBTQ, or if it's a woman in the forefront, or a person of color in the forefront, or whatever the case may be. Oh, Lizzo is in the show. No, that's not the problem. The problem is the quality of storytelling, and people just honestly want to continue to be in love with the franchise that they already do love. There's ice in my coffee if you hear the rattling while I'm doing this. And also, I don't know if there's going to be any editing here. You and I will know after the fact, because this is just an honest conversation that I feel like having. So I don't know if I'm going to add some bells and whistles and do all of that to try to keep you engaged and entertained for the watch time. But I need the watch time, so thank you for being here and watching this with me. But I also want to spill some ideas. But, you know, when it comes to Disney Star Wars, there's certain things that I love about it, and there's certain things I don't, and including the Clone Wars. That was amazing to me. I loved Rebels. I think Rebels was very good top tier television, incorporating Thrawn into that series. I read those books, the Thrawn trilogy. I read them, and I loved Thrawn's new books. I didn't read his prequel trilogy, the Ascendancy series, but I did read the first two of the Timothy Zahn books. With the Thrawn book, it's just called Thrawn, and then I also read the follow-up with him and Darth Vader. Yeah, just the new storytelling with Thrawn, loved it. I loved Thrawn before, and I loved how they incorporated him in Rebels, and I love that he's in the world of Star Wars. Very excited to see him when it came to the Ahsoka show. So all in all, there's some hits and misses. So I don't love Star Wars in totality, but I recognize that there is a taint, ooh, a tainted smell that's covering what the franchise is. And now with the fact that they're getting rid of Rey, or the series or the movie, the trilogy is in limbo, it makes me think what they can do, and at the same time, it could also propel their narrative of
The Message.
So the sequels came out. It was 7, 8, and 9, and I was part of the fanfare of 7. I really thought, you know, it was going to be a resurgence of Star Wars, which it was at the time. It was a phenomenal, you know, time period. But then the identity politics inside of Disney, the incohesive storytelling, those things started happening. And with those things happening, it just lessened the love for the franchise. For me, 8, what really broke me, I did not like the superpower of Rey. That really messed up things for me. And
fuck?
But with all that being said, and the things that, and I like 9 as a movie in itself, but I don't think it's a good Star Wars movie.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
But I think it's an entertaining movie, but I just don't think it's a good way to close out the trilogy. And if you want to see a part 1 of a good way to close out the trilogy, I wrote a fanfic of Star Wars Episode 9, and it didn't get traction. When I first wrote it, it was trending. When I first wrote it those many years ago, it was trending. It was a trending topic those many years ago, but it's still not a thing anymore. But anywho, I would love to write a part 2, but I would just love the audience. And I also need the time to do it as well. But there's a lot of good Star Wars things. If you get rid of the fact of Rise of the Skywalker, you could read this. So if you think of Force Awakens, and if you think of The Last Jedi, sadly I included it. It was canonized, and then I just make my own movie. Wrote my own story, trying to finish good, trying to finish good of an entire saga, and with all the love and the lore that I've already took in with Star Wars. So there's that. You can find it with Tumblr, and all the chapters are in the archive section. If you want to read, and if you want to get into my mind about that, there it is. I link it in every video. But there's that. But with the sequels coming out, there was Finn, and Finn had so much potential, right? So we find out this stormtrooper, and it seems like from the first time we really meet him is that he's already Force sensitive. For him to be a stormtrooper, for him to be the lowest of the low, he was a janitor, and then now he's on this war mission, and he's hearing and feeling the sounds, and being involved in death. That's that heavy with him. Hearing the voices of everyone that died when the Starkiller base got activated, when Maz Kanata gave him his lightsaber. There was all these hints of him being Force sensitive. We got the biggest clip of him getting ready in the trailer to fight Kylo Ren.
I was raised to do one thing, but I've got nothing to fight for. The dark side. A Jedi.
Damn right.
Right? And so it's like, yo, this man is probably going to be the one in the forefront, and if not, it's cool if it's Rey or the two of them as well. But he got built up, and then he got diminished. He ended up simping for Rey.
The First Order, they've done it. Where's Rey?
Look how they massacred my boy.
For the remainder of the movie, and his story in Episode 8, The Last Jedi, was diminished. His story was diminished. So he wasn't very prominent. He's a side character. He's very much a supporting character. He's in there, but his purpose as a character wasn't substantial enough. And so with it not being substantial enough, I think now with the Rey trilogy being canceled, now for me, this is the idea that I came up with, that it most importantly could be an 8-episode series, right? I think that you should have the writer of They Clone Tyrone, he'd be the showrunner, the director, Antoine Fuqua, and we have the actor, John Boyega. We have John Boyega in the forefront, and that is totally diversity, equity, and inclusion. Black faces, right? A black cast, just able to be in the world of Star Wars. not only that, I figure like if it was me, if I was a producer and or showrunning or talking to Kathleen Kennedy about these things, I would say that we do it legitimately, like right now, have it out for December, have it as an 8-episode series in the world of Star Wars, and it takes place 5 years after the Rise of Skywalker. We take it place 5 years. I wanted to have it as him and Rey train together off screen. We don't need Rey in the show. So it's 5 years. Rey, they both learned from the text, they learned from the books. She was teaching him, you know, they were teaching, he learned how to become a Jedi. So their union, or the idea of their new Jedi order, right, is boom, she's going off and she's looking for new Jedi to recruit, right? So she doesn't really need to be in the show. But for him, he has to go out and be a Jedi. He has to go out and be a Jedi and protecting and try to bring some order to the galaxy. And with all that being said, what is the government? What is the government going on right now? Especially having it 5 years later. Yeah, what are they going to establish? Is there going to be a new galactic empire? Is there going to be somebody like a monarchy? Is there going to be a monarchy, or are we going to go back to republic, to democracy? How is that going to work, and how is the Jedi being included in that? And he could be that Jedi and he could be that ambassador, but with the world not being established, boom, here we go. You got criminals, especially in a wide, vast setting, that they could take advantage of the disarray that's going on within the world or going on within the galaxy. And to me, I always had a thing for the underworld of Star Wars and how appealing that could be. George Lucas wanted to make an underworld show. They were making the game before the Disney acquisition of Coruscant Level 1313. That got kaput. And, you know, they tried to have elements of it. It didn't work well in the Boba Fett show. And I'm just thinking, and I was talking with my friend Robert, this is just a side note. I was talking with my friend Robert, and we were saying that Boba Fett should have been what the Penguin is. Just gritty, just realistic, make the characters lived in, and just make it a crime drama. Why make Boba Fett, you know, magnanimous and altruistic? There was no need for it. Let him just be somebody who wanted vengeance, who was gritty and dirty. So with all that being said, that was a footnote. That's staying in here. This is freely talking. I'm not about to edit this out or try to put it someplace else. So then what I'm saying is, with this show, with this world of the chaos, and we got two gangs that were already introduced into that world, the Gawavian Death Gang and Conja Club, and you got those two that we already got them. Let's see how they operating. Are we gonna bring the Pikes back? And I think for the overall story, I think that since Star Wars is allowed to incorporate things from Legends, I would just absolutely love to bring in Shizor, and Shizor is from Legends, and he had this thing of pheromones. And he really wanted to sleep with Princess Leia, and he was the head of the leader of the Black Suns, and the Black Suns was a mafia criminal organization, and he worked in union with the Emperor, and with him working in union with the Emperor just wanted an ally to have control over the criminal element, and he was a big boss. And just seeing what that is there a gang war happening? Is the Hutt still operating 30 years later? Are they still, you know, a major player? What's going on? And then we have him as this Jedi of Finn, trying to bring stabilization, and dealing with someone who is powerful, dealing with someone who is methodical, dealing with somebody who is maniacal. So we got all of those factors, and we put Finn in the forefront, and I think that he could have Janna become in the show, and with Janna being in the show, he just needs an ally, And also it's not diminishing a powerful, strong warrior black woman, and that she could also be a co-lead in the show. And not only that, since he didn't get with Ray, and maybe their relationship is just strictly platonic or even a brother-sister relationship, let black love flourish. We can have black love flourish, and maybe they don't start out as love interests, but over the course of the show we can see that their feelings do grow from one another. And we could have Poe who was fighting in the resistance, see what he's doing, and maybe he could help with a couple of missions here and there. And the thing is, we need to take back what John Boyega said about,
Oh my gosh.
What would it take to get you to come back to do Finn again?
In what?
I mean, I don't know if Finn is...
You ain't gonna Disney Plus me. I ain't getting no Disney Plus. I'm watching it.
Because he could just come out, be humble, and apologize, and recognize the error of his ways, and know that this new show could definitely be what the fans want, and it can be an apology from Disney. And the thing is, Kathleen Kennedy is about to be done. Her contract is up this week. Don't know if it's going to be renewed, or at the time of this recording, don't know if it's going to be renewed. But all in all, you know, it'd just be a change of regime, and then we could just bring that in of doing what they want for
the message.
And not only doing what they want for the message, but also giving a character that everybody has an attachment to and feel like he's done wrong. You can give him a redemption arc and give him the focus that he needs. And also with representation. So Marvel is failing, who's also under Disney. We don't have Blue Marvel. Blade got canceled. T'Challa is dead. I don't see why it should be a problem to, you know, you did bad storytelling when it came to Amanda Stenberg. You did bad storytelling when it came to Reva. You killed off the matriarch of the witches inside of Acolyte. So why not just put two positive, you know, prominent black characters in the forefront, and yeah, just not have a problem with representation. And you can't fail at it if there is good incorporation with these characters. And the thing is, you know, everybody within this world, even with aliens, it's an expansive world. It's an expansive world, and that's kind of like a tide within sci-fi, and I brought it up once before, that all of these things happen, so there is no diminishing of any other aliens, or there's no diminishing of any other race. But if you could have Finn in the forefront, you have Jannah in the forefront, and you incorporate Poe and not diminish what Poe is, and while he's trying to establish whatever this new government is going to be, or help against, you know, the rogues. And the thing is, he was a drug dealer. He was a spice smuggler. He was a spice smuggler, so he could be a very good tide to the criminal underworld, or in some type of reputation that he needs to get his foot back in there to help Poe, or to help Finn against whatever malevolent, you know, backdrop is going on. So that's what I feel like should happen. The state of Star Wars is disarray. They had a lot of cancellations. They don't have anything that's a flagship right now. If you put Finn in the forefront and make a good quality show, TV, you know, make it adult, mature. Don't make the characters do asinine or idiotic, nonsensical actions. It would really revitalize the love for Star Wars and bring probably a unified fan base. Yeah, those are my thoughts about incorporating Finn. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you for taking this time out to have some coffee with me. And also, you like, yo, bro, you always got that drip on, bro, and your drip always looks nice. Where can I purchase some? Well, look, there's a link in the description to my merch. This channel is not monetized, so thank you for staying along, being along, and listening to me spill. I'm glad that you're here for that. But yeah, help me out. Help me feed my cat and dog by purchasing some merch. But if you can't do that, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Be part of the channel as we continue to grow the community. But with all that being said, I'm gonna bring this video to an end, and I want you to be you, do you, see the bigger picture. Have a fantastic day, because you deserve it. This is that channel. Peace.
Mouth on top, Kung Fu, Bruce Lee chop, moon rocks, go Red Sox, tryna go far like Boondocks, headshot, blunt stay hot, talking shit, gotta pull up on they block, you fraud, I'm Couchgod, know you got a tax like a state charge, safe house, safe house, safe house.